and development among educators, teachers, administrators, students, and parents. RRIS is delighted to host you on this delightful journey by facilitating this platform as our way of giving back to the community and stakeholders that keep us motivated. And of all things, we expect just one thing from you to share this light of knowledge with your friends, family, peers, and your network. Do invite them to register for these sessions or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ram Ratna International School Official. Thank you for joining in today, and we look forward to an inspiring session. Onward we go, forward we march. Best wishes from Ram Ratna International School.
Namaste, good afternoon, and welcome to the most awaited, thrilling event that we had been looking forward to, the 100th Aadharshila Talk at RRIS. Seemed unbelievable. Never had imagined it to reach this stage when we started in April 2020. After 2 years and 3 months, when this really has happened, it gives us immense courage for the future, gives us the confidence that when the intentions are noble, things fall in place on their own. Like-minded people join hands and even make the most challenging of the tasks go without any obstacles. Humble pranams to all our Aadharshilas, whom I personally consider as my mentors, who have been the torch bearers, have been the guides throughout this journey in the last 27 months. They were not only the beacon of learning and inspiration, but they gave hope that even the darkest of the times, in the darkest of the times, we together can be each other's light. I thank you for holding hands of all the educationists, all the educators in the last 2 very difficult and challenging years. The objective of Aadharshila Talks at RRIS was to boost the morale of teachers in the unprecedented times of COVID. It was possible only because of the blessings, support, and wholehearted, genuine contribution and cooperation of 100 Aadharshilas, including today's speaker. I feel overwhelmed with emotions for the entire team of Aadharshila Talks at RRIS, that is the speakers whom we consider as Aadharshilas, as the foundation stones. Each one has been a cornerstone in this foundation that we have led in the last 27 months. In addition to them, I would also like to thank the RRIS family, the teachers of RRIS, the team, the IT team, everyone, parents, students included, who have taken pride in Aadharshila Talks, who have ensured that week after week, Monday after Monday, we meet together with the same zeal and enthusiasm to learn. I also would like to thank all our patrons, all our well-wishers who have been joining for the last 27 months, each Aadharshila Talk, making us believe that the purpose is definitely being achieved when people see the value in every single talk here. We are waiting for our speaker to join. Mr. Brar, are you there? He is currently in a shoot and he's taking a break from there for us for the Aadharshila talk. He had just
ma'am, he has joined. Just now he has joined, ma'am.
Okay. Namaste, welcome. Today's speaker, Mr. Ranveer Brar. Sir, it's our immense pleasure and absolute honor to have you as the 100th Aadharshila speaker. Are you here, sir? If you could just unmute yourself. Mr. Brar, are you there? By which ID did you see him joining? I think who spoke? Mayuri? By which
Ma'am,
ID?
myself, Nishita. He has joined by the name Ranveer Brar only, but I think because of network issue, he got out
Is
of the
got
group.
disconnected. So you must be
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
it again.
Yes, ma'am.
So no problem. Let's go through this entire journey in a few minutes. It's through a video. I would request my colleague Nishita to help me with that. Let's play the video and relive those moments of learning and I would say joyous learning.
Hi, everybody. I'm here logged in. Please let me know when I need to get on and speak. This is Ranveer.
Namaste, sir. This is Nishita here from Ramratna International School. Ma'am is joining in some time. Actually, she got disconnected due to some network issue. She will be back.
And I'll start after that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She will be doing the introduction part. After that, you can continue, sir. Ma'am is joining. Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste, namaste to our Aadharshila for today, the concluding talk, the 100th talk, Mr. Ranveer Brar. Namaste, sir. Pranam, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me over.
It's a privilege and a pleasure, an honor for us to have you and to see you, though through the screen. So welcome to you on behalf of the entire Ramratna International School family and Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. I would like to introduce today's speaker. Before that, I would like to acknowledge the presence of so many of our Aadharshilas here. Right on my screen, on the top, I see our very first Aadharshila speaker, Mr. Himanshu Dev, who started with bringing our attention to the fact that teachers are very important. They are so critical. Their contribution is crucial to the destiny a child carves for himself or herself. So pranam Himanshu ji for laying the first foundation, the first Aadharshila. Thank you so much. And then moving from Himanshu ji till today's talk, all those who have made it possible, my humble pranams to all of you. I won't be able to name each one of you, but I want you to know that we are truly, truly grateful and have got so much to learn from you. It's really thrilling meeting up for the last 27 months, as we all have been going through a lot together, especially during the COVID. I would like to thank technology also for making this possible through Aadharshila Talks. It became a platform for like-minded educationists since April 2020. Today, the 100th talk is being given by somebody who is an example of versatility, who is an example of courage, someone who defines what he can do and who dabbles in a variety of skills and talents and experiences, experiments. So just by being an example of that, I think you're so inspiring, so motivating. Coming on to his introduction, I would like to say studying culinary arts helps one expand their horizons in many ways. Not only it can help you become a professional chef, but it gives you a deeper appreciation for food as culture, food as art, health, and more, all of which can be passed on to their customers through their own culinary efforts. We are privileged to have an opportunity today to have you, sir, the celebrity chef, Mr. Ranveer Brar, the television show celebrity, a restaurateur, food film producer, and benefactor, the celebrity chef, Mr. Ranveer Brar, who also has recently acted in a movie, and I was blown by his acting, who has been representing Indian food across the globe with over 20 years of experience in the food industry and more than 10 years at kitchen management positions across India and the US. Chef Brar is one of the most celebrated chefs in the country, having set up restaurants in India, including at Heritage Hotel, Alila Fort, Bishangarh, and abroad, and curated the menu of many more, including cruise kitchens aboard Royal Caribbean. Renowned for his food history, expertise in regional and global cuisines.
This is the most awkward part that I'd like to skip. So let's skip the introductions. I think, it just makes me feel extremely awkward. But thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
You have to sit through this awkwardness, sir, because I don't want people to miss out on the joy of knowing all your achievements and accomplishments. So you have to sit through this introduction, sir. So renowned for his knowledge of food history, expertise in regional and global cuisines, proficiency in food styling and photography, and an unmatched passion for foods in all its connotations, he seeks to challenge his own limits. Getting the basics right and revering the kitchen as an artist would, his or her studio are mantras he lives by and propagates to others as well. His popularity on television is matched by his tremendous fan following on social media as well. Getting the basics right, I think that's where each teacher has to focus. We talk of so much happening in education, but are we getting the basics right? I have taken that from here. He has also pioneered the first ever Twitter video show called Ranveer on the Road, covering new destinations each season and exploring their cuisines and cultures. For someone who propounds the theory of cuisine being an extension of culture, he strongly upholds the belief of travel making a good chef better. During the 2020 lockdown, he pioneered new shows encouraging people to cook at home with minimal ingredients, which went on to be immensely popular. He also partnered with various organizations during the COVID crisis to run fundraisers, the beneficiaries ranging from daily wagers to farmers, as also a Bring Them Back campaign in association with NASVI to help reinstate street food vendors back in business. A chef with a heart, undoubtedly. He was also recently seen in and has received critical acclaim for his OTT debut, Modern Love Mumbai, in the short story titled Bye. I have watched it, so I can vouch for it. Please watch if you haven't yet. He has also created an awareness campaign for getting Bandel cheese its GI tag via the global petition website change.org. As an avid photographer with a keen eye for details, his love of art flows into his food styling and photographs as well. With a bestseller in his kitty, a popular host and judge on television, and an artist both in and out of the kitchen, Chef Brar calls himself a food Sufi on a constant culinary quest. Without any further ado, and with immense gratitude, I invite Mr. Ranveer Brar, the 100th Aadharshila, to deliver the talk on the theme of winning ways. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I have to speak to the team who gave you that introduction. Yeah, I think everybody's had a journey, and if we are not able to make the journey palatable in seconds, then it's not a journey, then it reads like a series. So speak to them about that. Thank you very much. I think, I look at the panel and I thank all for the time you're giving me. I will try and first share my life experiences, things that helped me grow, that are still helping me grow, to see if there's something in it for the students and for the ecosystem around the students that supports students and tries to bring out the best that there is. Thank you very much once again. I think, I think as a small town kid growing up in Lucknow in the 80s, we were very fortunate that life did not give us too many options. Unfortunately, as a child growing up today in any part of the country, that is not true. The number of options that we have today, both online and offline, are unimaginable. And I think that's where I really want to focus on. I really want to focus on a few basics I've gotten in my life to really help me. I think what I want to start from is one aspect that I think it's important to develop in our kids and in the ecosystem that surrounds them. That is Zid. I think it's we often take Zid as a negative emotion. I think what I learned in my life was that Zid is a बड़ा important हिस्सा है जिंदगी का, क्योंकि बहुत समय ऐसा होता है कि लोग हमको कन्विंस कर लेते हैं और हम खुद को कन्विंस नहीं कर पाते because we're not जिद्दी enough. And I think it's what I have learned in life is that it's very, very important to stay stubborn it's very important to uh, believe in what you see, because our belief is bigger than collective belief of a lot of people around you. I think if each one of us is sent to this world to be the best version of themselves, then it is very important that if we want to be the best version of ourselves, the first person that we need to listen to is ourselves, and the first person that we need to believe in ourselves. Like I said, I was very lucky to be growing up in Lucknow in the 80s and choosing a career in the small town of Lucknow in the 90s. Because one, there were not too many options, and two, the options they had were very, very conventional. So you have to listen to everybody else, whether it's peers or your parents' friends who used to sit down and counsel you on what you could do in your life. You basically had a medical entrance examination in the pipeline, or engineering examination, or or I do your graduation type for UPS late. And it's not just me. A bunch of these small town kids who grew up in India in the 90s, who wanted to do something else, had being stubborn as an essential quality in them, because when you're
Excuse me,
stubborn,
sir. Excuse me, sir. So, the voice seems to be breaking.
is that so for everybody? Because
It's cracking.
I believe
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly log on to the second Wi-Fi and log back in, or I'll just tap in.
Sure. Sure. So until then, I would like the audience to know that the first speaker and the last speaker both are from Lucknow. There seems to be a Lucknow connect that Aadharshila Talks has. And both proud Lucknowis.
Yeah, I've switched on. I've switched to the Wi-Fi. Is it the second Wi-Fi? Is it better now?
Seems better. I think this is
One
better.
second.
Yes. Can the audience also let us know? It sounds better now.
Yeah, I think this is better.
Better, sir.
Awesome. So I think I'll quickly come back to summarize what I was saying. I was saying, as small town kids, when we did not have too many options, and you were surrounded by an ecosystem that was very conventional in nature. To make unconventional choices required a lot of resolve and a lot of stubbornness. And I think that's what I learned growing up as a kid in Lucknow. That you need to be stubborn, otherwise you'll just end up being like everybody else. And that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life will be the best version of you. And I think it is very, very strange that I'm still in a shoot. I just stepped out of it to talk to you guys. The photographer of that is from Lucknow. And we exactly spoke about the same thing. That in the 90s, to go back to your parents and say you want to be a photographer, would definitely come up to say, "ठीक है, but क्या करोगे? पैसे कैसे कमाओगे?" Went to my parents and said, "It's all right. How do you make money?" And I think that gave you the resolve, and I always say the other side of stubbornness is responsibility, because when you take on the world, then you know that you're alone, and when you know that you're alone, then delivering what you promised becomes your responsibility. And you cannot just be stubborn and not be responsible for your decisions and choices. I think that's the other side that we learned as kids, because there was no fallback option. There was no fallback option to say, you've taken on the whole world. That's essentially what it was. Is the voice still cracking?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
To some extent, yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm really sorry, because this is the second Wi-Fi that I switched to. You want me to turn to the third Wi-Fi one last time?
Take your time, sir.
Sure.
Because listening clearly is really important.
I hear you. All right, we're doing the third one now. Is it a little better?
Sounds a little better, sir. Yes. Sounds better.
Cool. That's the last option we have. All right. So, and I think what's important for us to understand that stubbornness comes with the other side of the coin, which is responsibility. And it is also very important to understand, and if we are a part of the ecosystem that surrounds children, to make them understand that you can be as stubborn as you want. You have to be equally responsible for your choices. I think that comes with the deal. But it is important to allow stubbornness and not take it as a negative emotion. It's important to allow ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves by listening to ourselves and believing in ourselves. I think that's one thing that if we were to talk about winning ways, that's one thing that I've learned in my life. The second bit that I want to talk about is, again, something that's taken extremely negatively, and I like to call it bisharmi, or shamelessness. And I think that is something that we're not the first people who encourage unconventionalism, and who encourage. We're so used to living in the norms that it becomes very difficult for us to encourage shamelessness. Right? All I've learned in my life is, if you're not shameless enough to ask questions, if you're not shameless enough to tell everybody what you believe in, if you're not shameless enough to write your goals at a place where everybody sees it, makes fun of you to remind you where you have to get one day, then you're just not shameless enough. And I think that is very, very important. Being shameless is very important. This world is about putting yourself out there. The world that lives inside you, has to come outside for people to connect to it. And the only way for that to happen is if you are shameless about it. If you're shameless in your belief about this world inside, and you spend enough time with the world inside to shamelessly project it outside. And I think that is the world that we're living in today, and that's going to be the world of tomorrow. The only way we connect to people is by projecting a sense of self, by projecting the set of relationships that we have with the world, with ourselves. The quality of life, I say, is nothing more. The quality of life is nothing more than the quality of relationships that we have with people around us. And if those relationships are inhibited, if those relationships are extremely rehearsed, if those relationships are bound with a lot of oohs and ahs and do's and don'ts, nobody will get to know the real us. And the world is out there to know the real us, and we have to be shameless about the real us. We can't be blasphemous about our personality. We have to be honest to our personality and yet shamelessly project it to the world. We live in a world where everybody's looking to connect, whether through your cell phones or through conversations, people want to know the real us. And there's no other way to be successful than be shameless about putting it out there in the world. I think that, fortunately, I see that in a lot in today's generation. The confidence and the shamelessness to put themselves out there. But I definitely want to leave this as a side note in the conversation. Now, what comes on the other side of shamelessness, however, is the responsibility. To be honest while being shameless. I think it's very important to internalize before we project. And it's very important to keep internalizing, because if we are projecting but top shelf conversations, basically we're projecting nothing at all. And then after a point in time,
So there's a question.
I'll get to that.
Yes.
I'll get to that.
Sure.
I think if we are projecting, if we don't have an honest relationship and we don't have enough internal conversations, we should not be projecting. I think if we are not refueling enough, we shouldn't be going full speed. Both of them are equally responsible. To answer the question about being selfish, if shamelessness and selfishness are the same thing, no, they're not the same thing. They're not interconnected. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in life is that you only get by giving. Is selfishness never really works. And being shameless has nothing to do with being selfish. And I want to just put it out there, and because especially as today's children, it just seems like they're the same parts of the conversation. They're not. Being shameless is having conviction enough to go and stand in front of 100 people.
Sir, so in my understanding, it's more about the authenticity, being authentic, the courage to be authentic, portraying what we really are.
Absolutely. I think the courage to first have those uncomfortable conversations with yourself. Right. The courage to first have those conversations with yourself that make you uncomfortable, to find out who you really are, to then have those uncomfortable conversations with the world outside. Now, I want to come back to the selfishness part. Now, in terms of selfishness, I believe we talk about self-love, and we live in a world where self is being projected as the most important thing. I think the other side of it is vulnerability. I think if you're selfish, you're never vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you're never creative. If you don't allow yourself to get hurt, you'll never learn life's lessons. I think selfishness locks you up in a box and makes you a smaller person. And that is not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to experience it, be open, and not protect yourself, because self-love and everything is really, really important. I believe all I've gotten in life is because of others. All that we get in life is never because of us. And I say that as standing proof. We are just but a result of what we've done for others. We are, until we have the courage to acknowledge that you're sitting there because there's something, blessings, whether it's your parents or elders, and there's something called karma that has come back to you. We don't deserve to sit in a place where we can influence people. I think the only way to get is by giving. The only way to assimilate is by imparting. And that becomes really, really important. Assimilation by imparting is the only reason. So I'm sorry, I'm being a little strong on this, but in a forum like this, it's very important to speak about the other side of selfishness and this whole conversation about self-love and the beauty of being vulnerable. We are, as human beings, we are a bundle of emotions first. We are then a bundle of thoughts. And then much later, we become a bundle of experiences. In order to be a bundle of experiences, we have to leave ourselves open to experience and not selfishly close and take just what we want to take from the world. As somebody who's a creative person, as somebody who paints, I keep myself open to get hurt. There are days when I lock myself up in a room because there's something that's affecting me. And if it doesn't affect me, I will not be able to internalize and project. So that's exactly the opposite of what we were talking about. To internalize, you need to be vulnerable. To be shameless, you need to internalize. And that's the only answer I have to that question. I'm sorry, it's not. I am not a conventional guy who sort of speaks in the most conventional ways. So some of it's going to be harsh and a little disruptive, but I think Jaya ma'am's already seen a little bit of the disruptive side. So some people
I
would
think
be
we
okay with
appreciate that level of
it.
authenticity. We appreciate that
Uh,
authenticity that you bring.
Also, again, continuing the conversation, I think it's very important. It's very, very important for all of us um, to believe that we are meant for something bigger. And a lot of times, as the first thing that we lose because of the world that we grow up in is that belief. Is that belief that we are meant to be the president or the prime minister or something that's really, really extraordinary. I think the first thing the world does is it clips our wings. It clips our wings to tell us why a lot of things cannot be done and why a lot of people have not been able to do those things. And I think that the unreasonability is the third part when I talk about life lessons that I have learned. If you're not unreasonable, and if you lose your unreasonability because of hundreds of reasons given to you by the ecosystem surrounding you, um, it just becomes a child's dream. Everything that you started off with just gets lost. I think to be unreasonable with where you want to go in life, if it doesn't scare us, it's not good enough. But I think with time we tend to get scared, or with time there's this bunch of people that we surround ourselves with who keep proving us with reason that we were right not to be unreasonable. And that I think is a racket, I like to call it, that we need to break, and get back to unreasonability and supporting unreasonability. Um, and that's, I think, that primarily that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm more than happy to take questions. Um, I'm more than happy, and like I said, Himanshu ji and everybody else who's here, very happy to be a part of the panel. Very happy to be giving this talk.
It was so comprehensive and concise. The winning ways, truly, I believe this is what makes one win. The most appealing part to me was all about knowing thyself. Once whether comes within ourselves, we'll be able to do justice with our dreams, hopes, ambitions in life, and would not be leading the life which is defined by the society for us. So, friends, we're looking for questions from you, sharing of thoughts from you. If any of the Aadharshilas would also like to contribute or ask questions, share thoughts, please unmute yourselves. Most welcome.
So, Dr. Jaya, I'll ask a question to Ranveer.
Yes.
I'm, so, and some of you who know me, I really appreciate what he says, because I want to empower, and like all of us, we want to empower these kids. And so what I often say that the world is trying to make you an average of that world itself. So this shamelessness or this zid really comes out well, because ultimately you have to distinct yourself, you have to distinguish yourself, and that's what a lot of us tried to do, and Ranveer of course has done that. Now, to make Ranveer's job a little difficult and our job a little easy, I would want some more tips to that. How can you stand up? Like, of course, you said stand up to the teachers, stand up to the parents. You should say that. But then what I see, and especially when we see these pandemic kids, maybe in last 2 years, last 3 years, maybe some of them got their voices, but some of them lost their voices as well. So, and I'm seeing that this year of teaching and counseling. What I want to understand from you and from your life, maybe, uh, it could be through an example or could be through 2 or 3 tips. How can somebody stand up without like offending everyone? It's like, you continue to be a good boy or a good girl and still stand up for yourself, because a good boy as we are told, whether in Lucknow or in Bombay or any part of the world. Good boy means, okay, you followed us, good boy. You did good, good boy. What mama said you did, good boy. Whatever teacher said, good boy. So how we can still be a good boy or a good girl and still have that zid and have that shamelessness? Uh, I don't know. You have ready answers for it, or you can cook it up.
No, I think we'll go along. But it's a very good
And
question.
and there's no guarantee whether it will be palatable or not.
Right, ma'am, I didn't hear you.
Like sir said, you can cook up the answer, and I'm saying there's no guarantee whether it will be palatable to the general public or not.
No, मैं कुछ जवाब देता हूँ जो मुझे लगता है शायद वो मेरे हिसाब से जवाब पहली चीज तो ये है कि we have to ask ourselves as adults is yes or saying no, or is it a fair share? What I have learned in life is that every time I've said no, it's required a lot. When I want this, it has required a lot more courage, and the decision has given me a lot more clarity. Can you guys hear me? Or is it gone again?
There is a lag again, Ranveer. A lot of lag.
Let me just turn off a few applications. It's fine. It's turning off all the apps. Is it a little better now?
Yes, we can hear.
So yeah, is it okay?
Yeah, true.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think the answer is if we have in our lives had a fair share of yeses and nos to say, and both of them have given us equal amount. In my life, I believe every time I've said a no, the results have been better in the long run. I've done my preferred by saying a no when I want to say yes. Because saying no requires courage, and a lot of times it's for the correct thing. However, in our lives, I think every life, the share is 50-50. And if we want our kids to become just yes men, we need to question our definitions of good boys and good girls. I think if saying a no has worked for 50% of the time, they have at least 50%, or they should have at least a 50% opportunity to say no. And when I mean saying a no, I mean following up that no with a reason and a question. Following up that no with saying, "Oh, I can't do this because of this," or "That's my question, and that is not being answered, so I will not do it." And there's no harm when your no is followed by either a question or a because. And I think we need to inculcate that this is also the definition of a good child. The definition of a good child is to have the conviction to say no and follow it up with a reason or a question. And if that no comes softly or if that comes arrogantly, doesn't really matter. No is a no. The rule is just follow it up with a question, or just follow. I think that's something that we need to redefine as to what being a good child means. If it's good for us later in life, why don't we put it in practice for them early in life? And say, okay, you can say no 50% of the time, but this is really important. That's one. The second bit, I completely understand. I've seen my son, go through phases in the lockdown And I think what is I feel what is important um, for us in times like this, what has worked fortunately in my case is to go out and um, tell them extremely loud about what they feel. To go and say, to be the bad boy is to be the good boy. And let's see how bad you are. I think once you're able to shake them out of that, you have to leave them to their judgment, their much, and their world. We're all born with a conscience. We're all born, whether you like it or not. In 5 years, we have a value system that gets funded, and we know what's right. We just need to trust our kids with the value system that we're providing them.
So that was a wonderful answer. I would like you to know at the same time that your voice has been cracking during the answer, but I think most of us could get the gist of it. And yes, we have this opportunity in our classrooms to ensure that children understand the real meaning of being good. Saying no doesn't make you a bad child, but you also need to know that when you are opportunity or taking the path of breaking the norm, there has to be a reason to be supplemented. And if you're convincing enough, people would accept it. So thank you so much, sir. We have two hands raised, Miss Lakshmi and Miss Hendricks. Miss Lakshmi, you can go first. Please unmute. Okay, she has lowered her hand. Miss Hendricks, you can ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
You are.
Okay. Namaste, everybody. Namaste, Jaya ma'am and Ranveer sir. Big fan. It was me who put up that question regarding selfishness, and I guess it came across wrongly because I wanted to ask you this very same thing that you just spoke about, the power to say no. So, me as a person, or talking from experience, if anyone asks me something, it's very difficult to say no. We always put somebody else before us. And I've noticed the same thing happening with my son, even if he wants something, but if another friend will ask him for it, dil khol ke de diya. And then he'll come home and say, I wanted it, but then I let my friend have it. So sometimes, is it important to teach them to put yourself first? Or just let them be the way they are and let them figure it out? So that was actually what I wanted to convey to you in terms of how to teach them to be strong enough for themselves as well. I'm sorry, sir, I can't. You're not audible.
It's quite like this.
So we are not able to hear you. So it seems to have disconnected. Let's wait for a moment and
Yes, muted.
see if sir
He's
can join.
muted.
Is it better now?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. So
You were disconnected for some time.
Yes. No, I tried connecting again. So what I was saying, man, was I'm not an educator, but I know for sure that consistency is very important for whatever we tell them. If we're telling them that you give by getting, and then the next day we are telling them that, oh, no, but that's not all of the time. We are not giving them a message very. That's all I know. If we are saying be unreasonable, and then one day we are saying, oh, but keep some for yourself. That's how we have the world. We're only confusing. I think that is the only thing I can. That if we are consistent with our messaging, and unreasonability means unreasonability, means 100% unreasonable. Giving is giving, and then letting them experience the joy, the failure, and trusting them to learn from it. But convincing them is not an option. That's personally what I believe to answer your question.
I totally answer. What do you have to say, Miss Tracy? Good answer for your question.
Yes, ma'am. Some clarity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that really pertinent question. Any more?
I think Pradeep has a question.
Pradeep. So please
Yeah,
unmute yourself and ask questions.
yeah, I have. Can you hear me?
Namaste.
Namaste. Can you
Yes,
hear me
sir. Can
clearly?
hear you. Sir. Namaste.
Okay, so there are two things that I wanted
Sir,
to add. Is said also. I think that to go in the reverse order, the first thing what you talked about, the child wanting to share his things and then regretting it for any reason. I think what needs emphasis also is the intention. The intention with which the child wanted to give that thing away, or any matter who wants to give that thing away, the intention behind it should be clear. It should not be a bullying thing. It should not be out of a people pleaser. It should not be a social pressure. I think if the child is taught that if it's all good to care and share things, the intention behind it is because you thought that your friend needed it more than you, or you brought you pleasure because you shared it. It's a great thing to do. So there to say no is the intention behind what to say no. I think is important. And the earlier point about the definition which Ranveer so beautifully said, defining the who's a good boy and who's not. So that is one part, but I think it's also very important for us as educators or people, especially in senior levels, to create the environment in which because we as educators should understand that everybody is different, and not everybody will fit into that one straight-jacketed definition. Therefore, we should encourage or bring that environment around for people to be able to express themselves without thinking that they are actually different. So everyone is different should be the norm rather than a straight-jacketed definition of a good boy, a good student, or a good.
thank you for throwing more light on this. This really made us reflect. And the crux of what I understand first we can do with children is discuss with them and make them reflect on their actions. What makes them act in a way? And this connects with the very first winning way that Mr. Brar spoke about, that is knowing yourself. Why you do what you do. And for that, knowing yourself, reflecting on it, on every action and thought is important. Thank you so much, Pradeep sir. Then we have our PRO. She has raised her hand. You can go unmute yourself and ask the question, followed by Jyoti Singh Padvi.
Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I'm on a schedule. So can we try and wind up in like the next minutes, please? Thank you.
Yes, sir, I understand. And you really have given us a lot of time from your busy schedule. We truly appreciate that. I think we would really make you free, sir, at this time. And please proceed with your other engagements. Thank you so much for making this Aadharshila concluding talk another impactful experience. There is so much of food to think and reflect upon. We promise you that we are going to incorporate these winning ways in the way we think and work. Thank you once again for being the 100th Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. We have a short thank you video for you. Thanks again, sir. Looking forward
Thank you
to
very much.
watching you on the silver screen much more, and also reading your books. Keep writing.
Thank
Keep
you.
celebrating life.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for being on the call. I really appreciate. Apologies for the network being in and out. Sorry for that, but I hope we could put it together in a nutshell and get something out of it.
Thank you for sharing your winning ways with us, sir. This is for the victory all can achieve through these winning ways. Thank you so much. As we conclude the Aadharshila Talks at RRIS, I really feel overwhelmed with emotions and at the same time a lot of joy and pride. It's been possible only all of you who are here with us, who could not join us, who could join us. I want to sincerely thank you for giving us the hope that this is possible. I thank Mr. Brar as well as the other 9 Aadharshilas for bringing forth ideas and thoughts that can help us cultivate change and walk confidently on the path of progress. We stand in appreciation of the efforts you all have taken in making this humble initiative a resounding success and a history. It definitely is going down in the history of RRIS. We hold your insights in good stead and hope to welcome you all back again in the future. You have certainly given us plenty to think about, reflect, and implement in our personal and professional lives. It is said that, I had read it somewhere and I find it so true. A thought or an idea grows better when it is transplanted into another mind. So it does not matter where the thought or the idea sprang up in, which mind it sprang up in. Maybe the person who had the first idea forgets about it with time, but the people who have heard the idea might take it forward. Maybe they were meant to listen it from the person who first thought of it. And I feel Aadharshila platform provided us the opportunities to listen to ideas of great thinkers like our 100 Aadharshila speakers, and who knows which idea struck a chord with which attendee and where it is going to end up. I'm sure it's not going to end up, but where it's going to lead them in the personal or professional. Thank you for bringing those ideas together, keeping no barriers when it came to exchange of thoughts, sharing of your authentic views. This is what I can say with complete confidence, that every Aadharshila who has graced this platform was very genuine, was committed to their responsibility towards the society and the world at large. That's what makes you an Aadharshila. I have a lot more to say. I hope you understand more than my words can convey. I bow down in gratitude to all of you. So this was 100th and the concluding talk of Aadharshila. We don't know if we are again going to meet on the E platform under the name of Aadharshila. Who knows? But then never say no. And I'm now looking forward for physical meetings. So the whole club is ready. We just need to start meeting and physically exchange our ideas and put our ideas into action. Thanks to all our Aadharshilas. Would you like to say something? Please. Your blessings are important as we bring this to conclusion. I'll not be calling out the names. Please unmute yourself and speak up. We would like to listen to our Aadharshilas. How you think of this journey? What do you think of this journey? Very quickly, a few of you.
If I can take the first turn again.
Sure.
See, with anything like this, more than being nostalgic about how did we start, and more than be thinking about, the saying a bye or a vote of thanks, what I believe, and all of us here are, really, really charged up with all this. So let it be the beginning, and a lot of times, in some movies, it's written and it's the beginning. So I would say that kind, let it be a beginning. And I don't think we should just interact like we were discussing that, we should celebrate, we should come together. I would say those ideas should come together and those things should come together. And now I would say, let's say we should move out of the room, like we are virtual. We should move out of the room. We are already in our own fields, but then let's do better things, much better things, and let's get to more action. And I think with all this, and I think and that's what I meant when I said you lead us, because leading maybe, in that way, but it could scatter very easily. There have been platforms which are built together, but they're not able to achieve what they want to. So I would say that care and that purity, which is part of this Aadharshila, I would say to take it forward. Uh, Maybe you propose a plan, you do something on that, and I am happy to contribute whatever I can without any agenda of mine. But I would want to see this really, really successful, because I don't think I need to meet anyone else. If I just have a small world of these 100 folks, I would say that is more than enough to change the world. Nothing else. Nothing else needed. But it is just that we form a group, we form an army, if I can use that word, which is generally towards the violence. That may be something else. But if we can just go out for it and do something, in the world. I'm just trying to restrict my words, not to just say anything. But then what I would want to is that I want to see a lot of action now, and no laying back, no going back from here. We have all come together, so nobody should leave the group, nobody should leave out for anything. There should not be there. I think when you are there, there should not be any egos, there should not be anything which is pulling us back. So that's what I say, with a lot of best wishes for all of us. So I congratulate you and congratulate all of us, and best wishes, more than congratulations, I would say best wishes for next 100 days, for next 100 months, 100 years, go on and on. Over to you.
Namaste, everyone. It was truly an enriching experience. Unfortunately, I joined this journey at the very fag end of it, but still, what I got was an enriching experience, thoughts and ideas that should be implemented. Absolutely, I agree with Himanshu sir's. Ideas are those seeds where we have to give it a right balance so that it grows up. And this is the right platform where such brilliant ideas come forward. And definitely we are an army itself, because army doesn't always be in violence. When a strong army stands, it ensures peace also. So indeed, we were privileged to be a part of this platform, and definitely looking forward for many more experience like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Achal.
I have one
So,
suggestion,
Himanshu sir.
Jayadi.
Yes, Dilip sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I thought that this 100 thoughts which have come about in every Aadharshila, if you can probably ask all the Aadharshila people to write one pager each and create a nice volume of the 100 thoughts that have come about, because listening to all the videos etc., they are not well done and very long ones, but if they can be converted to a gist of one pager, say 250 words or 500 words write-ups, or maybe 1000 maximum words, it can become a great volume for the posterity to people to go through, live through them, and then probably get inspired about it. Just a thought occurred to me. Thank you.
It's a wonderful idea, sir. We were in the process of compiling the thoughts that we have understood from each talk. That's taking a long time. And also, there's more authenticity if we approach the speakers themselves to give us a write-up on their own thoughts. In fact, this is a beautiful idea. I'm going to take it up right now. Like Manshu said, we can't sit on our backs now. We have to get into action. This is the first action that I'm doing. So, take up. Beautiful idea. Same thing. Vandanaji, I see you on the screen and you could be the last speaker.
Yes, namaste everybody, and congratulations, Principal Ma'am, for this wonderful 100th episode. And I'm so happy to see this, because somewhere along the line we had decided that we need to take a break, but you reached 100, so congratulations. Congratulations to all the Aadharshilas who are here and to all of you who are listening in. The ideas shared here, the ideas given by Himanshu and by Dilip sir, I think they're amazing. And there is only the next step is only forward. We can't go back. We have learned a lot in these 100 episodes, and each speaker has added so much value to our existence and to what we already know. So I think I would not want this to end. Aadharshila should continue, but of course, like you said, you're stopping at 100. Let's work on something new. Let's come out something new. Let's use what we already have. Let's make a book. Let's spread all the information, all the awareness far and wide. Let's make this effort that you and your team have put in really worth it, and enrich many more lives. That's all that I would like to say. And before I end, thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you so much for giving us that validation, so to say, that we are also all capable and all able to do much more than what we think we can. So thank you and congratulations and all the best for the next. Jaya ma'am is silent. She's probably thinking of what to do next.
No, ma'am, we have network issues today.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Ma'am, you
mute, ma'am.
You have to unmute, Jaya, ma'am.
Sorry, it was because of the internet. Technology plays dual roles. It can help us with whatever we want to achieve, and it also can fool us at times. So I kept on going in my own flow, and then I heard you that I'm not speaking. So anyway, just logged in from my mobile. I think we are all charged to ensure that we don't just assimilate learning, but we truly turn it into actions with reflection. We will share our understanding of how to take it forward, like Mr. Himanshu said. Let's do this together as a team and be there for each other and with each other with new ideas which make a difference to the world. Thank you once again to each one of you, to all the Aadharshilas, to all the attendees, all the participants from various schools of India, the speakers from India and abroad, the school management, who has always promoted and encouraged for new initiatives, for my team, which has believed in the idea and has been ready to learn week after week. Oh, I have an assembly going on. Assembly all. I just realized it must be disturbing you all. So it's a signal. We end on this charged note. Let's take the learning forward. It's not an end, it is the beginning. With this thought, see you all out of the screens soon. Take care. Lots of love, best wishes, and namaste. Namaste. Pranams to all of you. Thank you.